All right. Hello, everyone. I welcome you all to the webinar for automating multi-channel digital experiences using IBM MobileFirst. And this session is being recorded, and it will be available for a replay. My name is Usman Mehman, and I'm a solution architect here at Stribo. And Stribo is a provider of enterprise-ready mobile and multi-channel solutions. We are headquartered here in Houston, Texas, and we are one of the premier IBM business partners. And with me today, I have two very good colleagues of mine. I had the privilege to work with both of them. Jonathan Booth, he's a senior architect at IBM. He leads a set of tools and technologies around automating digital experiences. Abraham Ferris, the other speaker, he's an architect at American National Insurance, and he has been instrumental in rolling out mobile and multi-channel solutions at Anico and its subsidiaries. The agenda is laid out in front of you, but essentially all of us are here to share our experiences in using software automation techniques to build these multi-channel and mobile solutions. And as we see mobility getting more pervasive within the enterprise, we are seeing a lot of the line of business executives funding mobility projects, and we are seeing this pattern across our client base, right? I mean, everybody sees the connection. They see how this new wave of technology can really bring about a lot of benefits to the enterprises, right? And then of course, the ball gets handed over to the IT department. They now need to execute, right? They now need to deliver these mobile apps, these multi-channel solutions, right? They are expected to deliver on, so-called the promise of mobile. Now, these IT departments, right, they are running into a number of questions and challenges. A lot of our colleagues, a lot of our, peers are kind of struggling with all the same set of questions, right? What tools to use, what frameworks to employ, how do I get these mobile apps to work with my legacy systems? How do we really wire them up with the enterprise backend, right? How do I ensure my data and apps are secured, right, in a BYOD world? How do I do control distribution? How do I manage these apps? And the biggest challenge of all, I would say, is, how do we build apps and solutions that will work across channels, right? And, essentially rapidly delivered apps, cross-platform apps, right? Apps that will work across these multitude of devices. And we say it is a big problem. I just pulled up a chart. You will see on the chart the whole smart device market is very, very fragmented, right? And this is just simply some of the latest smart devices. Now add to this picture all your legacy desktops, all your laptops, which is your typical enterprise IT environment, right? Add to this the XPs and the Windows 8 machines. Add to this all the browser complexities that all of us have dealt with for so long, right? The IE8s and the Chromes and the Firefoxes. Add to this the new wave of touchscreen PCs and kiosks, right? Add to this all your social channels. Now you have an interesting problem, right? Surfacing data, content, processes across these channels, right? How do I take hundreds and thousands of my existing or new applications, and how do I make them available across all these channels, right? And we saw a lot of the IT team, they took the early plunge, they started building apps with native coding, but we see them, struggling with high development maintenance costs, right? Instead, at least in our customer base, we are seeing a trend towards HTML5 based mobile web apps, right? And the technology has evolved to a point where you can now add your own set of libraries, plugins, and you can extend these mobile web apps as hybrid apps. And these HTML5 compliant mobile web apps and hybrid apps seem to be the wave or the trend within the enterprise customer base, right? Understandable reasons, open standards, existing skill set could be transferred easily, right? So majority of the apps are moving towards HTML5. But, even in HTML5 compliant apps, right? Again, traditional approach, manual coding approach, the timeline cost still, starts going up linearly, right? So there's always room for automation, even in the creation of HTML5 compliant apps. That's what we believe. And there are special situations where one has to deliver hundreds or thousands of digital assets, interfaces. And, over the next few minutes, we'll share some of stories of such customers that have solved this very problem, right? Delivering large number of forms, reports, views, content to a range of smart devices across channels. So my first such example is an insurance customer of ours. Right? The IT team, we work very closely with them. They were challenged to deliver an insurance agent solution. Now, in this solution, the agent would walk into the customer location, the prospect location. They would be able to collect all their information. They would be able, should be able to give them a personalized quotation illustration, a solution that would then, allow them to enroll both the organization, the company, and all of its employees. A solution that would work in both online and offline mode, because these agents often don't have internet connection. They walk into a customer location, right? And the solution had hundreds of forms. Because our customer essentially offers a range of products, including health insurance, life, annuity products, and these products were sold in multiple states, and each state has its own set of rules and regulations, and hence each state had its own kind of variants on the form. And they had to roll out this solution to over 50,000 agents, right? And majority of these agents being independent, we don't have control on what device they would access the system with. So the challenge was, hey, deliver a solution, hundreds of forms, it should work on range of devices, tablets, legacy desktop, right, laptops, like that. And what this team jointly delivered was an HTML5 compliant solution, works online, offline, has features like e-signatures, bulk load, right, it works across channels. And the end goal, what our leader, gave us, right, what DNR's directive was, the end goal should be increase sales and, decrease the operational cost. And Abraham will demo this very solution in later part of this presentation. So guys, stay tuned. My second story is about an oil and gas distributor. Right, this is again IT team tasked out to roll out hundreds of processes, workflows, reports from their enterprise system, here in this case on a range of mobile devices. And again, marketing and customer service was driving this engagement. The idea was to give them ready access to information from legacy systems, right? And in this case, it was AS400, FileNet, and most of our team members there, they were struggling with how do we take these legacy FileNet interfaces, including the step processor forms, the mainframe data, how do we bring them to a variety of, variety of smart devices, right? Again, they wanted to improve customer service, they wanted to reduce the operational cost. My last example here is from an aviation company. They were again trying to migrate over 700 forms from their legacy portal, right? In this case, Plumtree. And the idea was to bring these hundreds of forms into the new digital experience. Again, traditional manual coding technique, we saw that the cost was very, very high, right? Instead, we leveraged software automation. The idea was to auto-migrate the studio portlets into the new IBM Digital Experience Suite. Right? So we see the common theme, the common problem. Large number of digital assets, take hundreds or sometimes thousands of reports, forms, right, and make them multi-channel and support them across devices. And in each of the solution, right, the idea was use the manufacturing concepts, right? So we always think of like we manufactured the HTML5 compliant solution, right? And these solutions leverage the IBM MobileFirst portfolio of products. And for those of you who are new to the area, IBM MobileFirst is a comprehensive set of tools and technologies that are available to, deliver a complete mobile multi-channel experience. And this portfolio goes beyond just app creation, right? It includes testing tools. It addresses security. You can app scan do an app scan on your app or your mobile assets, analytics, device management. And each of these solutions, each of these tools here warrants a much longer discussion, right? In this webinar, we'll keep our focus on the app creation tools. And the first product is the IBM WorkLite. It's a comprehensive development platform. It allows you to create mobile web apps, hybrid apps, You can even embed native code for improved user experience. And the idea is to give the IT complete management and governance of the app lifecycle. And a lot of use cases wherein we lead with Worklight as the development platform, right, where there is more client-side code requirement. And the second technology, which is also part of the app creation portfolio of IBM MobileFirst, is the IBM Digital Experience Suite. This is again a comprehensive package in its own. It includes Portal, a world-class web content engine, development tools like IBM Web Experience Factory, right, which is again geared towards building multi-channel experiences. And Web Experience Factory uses more of an automated concept of builders, model, profiles. The idea is to create large, anytime you have to create large number of HTML5 compliant interfaces, then, you could potentially leverage this tool. And a lot of the success stories that you saw use these tools often in combination to, deliver these large number of multi-channel interfaces, right? So the Digital Experience Suite creates multi-channel HTML5 compliant interfaces, gives us automation, the ability to rapidly create hundreds or even thousands of apps, right? And the Worklight then, the shell gives, Worklight allows us to extend these experiences as hybrid apps. Worklight gives us push notification, app lifecycle governance. So the combination of the two is in certain set of use cases is very powerful. So to show you how some of the tools and the technology work really under the covers, let's take, lift the hood, I'll invite the man who, along with other members of this IBM team, created these set of tools and technologies, right? He continues to drive the vision at IBM around mobility. Presenting Jonathan Booth. Over to you, Jonathan.
Okay, thank you, Usman. Let's see, so if you could stop sharing, then I can take over the screen here. Okay, so thanks. Yeah, so let me see. So let me start by talking about some of the challenges that Usman was talking about, delivering your applications to the full range of smart devices that you have out there. So this is quite a challenge for development teams, and given all these challenges, we think that you need a better approach than hand coding all of your applications and all the variations that you need, for example, for all your different devices. So instead of that, Web Experience Factory uses a model-based approach using these intelligent components called builders, and the builders generate all the code for your applications and the variations that you need, for example, for different device types. This gives you a number of benefits. It gives you faster and cheaper delivery of your solutions, so you can develop applications really quickly. You can build one source model, deliver it to a whole range of devices. You can integrate with any of your existing technology investments, things like applications like SAP, databases, web services, and so forth. And you can also automate and enforce your development standards and practices because the code is generated for you using templates and configuration parameters that you can customize. So going a little bit more into how you develop applications with Experience Factory using models and builders. You use these wizard-like builder tools to build your application initially. First off, you connect to your enterprise data, your services. If you want, you can transform data and combine data from different services. You would then select the high-level user interface design patterns that you want to have in your application, and this can give you extremely rapid development. It uses a data-driven approach where it'll look at the schema for the data services you're using and can automatically generate the initial screens that use that data. And then you can customize and enhance the user interface using a whole rich set of tools that are available. Once you have the core application built, you can then configure the parameters that control code generation for multiple variations. So this lets you generate different variations for different device types, desktop and smartphone, for example, different variations for different user groups or roles. You can also use the same capability for allowing your end users, your business users or your administrators to customize applications at runtime. And you can also use this to generate variations based on data that's in a database, for example, or a service. And this lets you basically use metadata to generate many applications from one model. So the developer, in this picture here, the developer builds a model, the code generation engine, reads the model, pulls in any necessary libraries and templates, and all the application variations are generated for you. And notice, by the way, that that's not just a one-time process. This can also be done dynamically on demand on the server when the engine detects that one of the configuration parameters has changed. All right, digging just a little bit more into the mobile and smart device delivery with Experience Factory, there are a couple of general techniques that are used, and these are called responsive and adaptive. So with responsive techniques, the Experience Factory generates markup and code that leverages CSS responsive web design techniques, and this can give users optimized styling and layout for any device. The other general technique is the adaptive technique. This is where you can use the Experience Factory's device profiling, and this can let you generate different code and markup from the server for different device classes. So, for example, this is very useful if you want to generate completely different markup or code for a desktop compared with a smartphone. Now, so far in talking about mobile, I've been talking about mobile web using the device browser. As Usman mentioned, when you combine Experience Factory and the digital experience platform with WorkLight, it opens the door to a whole set of additional use cases, and you can do a lot of things beyond what you can do with the mobile web browser. You can provide an app that's installed onto a device from the App Store, and you can use native device features, camera, and so forth, and you can use the whole range of WorkLight features, such as push notifications, encrypted storage, and other features. So what this lets you do is access your whole website from an installed WorkLight application and have access to the native device features when you want them. And in Experience Factory, if you want to do something like use the device camera, there's a builder that makes that very easy. All right, so what I want to do at this point is go into a demo. I'm going to show a multi-channel site that's delivered to a range of devices, and also it uses the WorkLight integration to let you view the same site from a WorkLight app, but with additional capabilities. So it's like in this picture, there's a single WebSphere portal server. The Experience Factory model is running on that portal, and a single model then delivers the application to all these different contexts. So over to the demo. The first screen I'm showing is in my desktop browser. I've got this consumer banking website that gives consumers access to a bunch of different features. They can view their account information, their account balances. They can see a chart of their different account balances. They can drill down and see recent transactions for any of the accounts. They can find bank locations, see a map of where these locations are and so forth. And they've got access to a number of other transactions like transferring funds between accounts, paying bills, or applying for a new account. So that's
Jonathan,
the
demo is catching up, so you want to slow down just a little bit. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so you're seeing the desktop Open Financial Network, right? So now I'm going to, I'll try to take things slow. It does seem to be having trouble keeping up, but I'm going to go over to a couple of other devices. I'm going to go first to a smartphone simulator. This is an Android simulator that I'm running on my desktop here. And I can access the same website from this smartphone device, and it'll give me a different layout and a different look and feel, but it has access to all the same website features, all the same applications and so forth. So hopefully you can see my smartphone screen now with the same website, but now laid out differently for a smartphone device. And I'll just select a couple of the functions that we saw before. I can view my account information, drill down and see the transactions for any account, and so forth. Similarly with the other functions, I can find locations. It's got the same functionality, but it's laid out and presented differently for the smartphone device. I've got access to my map information, get directions, and so forth. And let me just go to one more device. This is an iPad emulator. Again, access to the same website, and now it's optimized for my tablet. WebSphere portal provides a different kind of navigation for a tablet, but I've got access to all the same functions: my account information, locations, transfer funds, pay bills, and so forth. So that's three different browsers looking at the same website. The last scenario I want to touch on is the one where we integrate with IBM WorkLight, and this is again, it's going to access the same website, but now give you additional features. So I'll go back to my smartphone emulator, and instead of just launching the device browser, I'm going to launch a WorkLight app. And it gives me access to the same website, all the same features that we saw before, but now it has an additional option available that we didn't see, which is for depositing a check. So if I bring that up, it's going to use some of the native device features. In this case, it's going to use the device camera to let me take a picture of the front and the back of a check. So hopefully on the screen now you can see the deposit check application, and I've got an option for taking a picture of the front of the check. So I'll select that now. It puts the phone into camera mode, lets me take a picture. This is an emulator, so it doesn't have a real camera, but it emulates the same functionality. So I can approve the picture. It'll upload it to the server, and I can do the same thing with the back of the check. Take a picture of the back of the check. And then I can fill in the other items that I need and then submit it to the server and approve it, and then deposit the check into my account. So that's an example of the same website, but now with additional functions available to access the native device features when you need it. And at this point, I just want to show just a little bit of the Experience Factory Designer to see how all of this is built. We'll go over to the IDE. And as I mentioned, each of the portlets or applications that we saw there is built once and then delivered to all the different devices. For example, account activity, it knows how to lay things out differently for the different device types. What I'm showing here is the check deposit model that we just looked at. And in this case, the camera functionality is added to the application just by using the camera builder, which basically lets you just fill in a few parameters, point and click, tell it where you want the camera UI to appear, and the builder will then generate all the code for invoking the camera, uploading the picture, and so forth. And that's typical of how you would add these features in Experience Factory. You point and click using the builders, and then all the code is generated for you. All right, so that was a very quick look. Hopefully the web conference kept up with some of that. At this point, I want to turn it over to Abraham Ferris from Anico Insurance, and he's going to do a demo of some of the applications that they've built using this tool.
Okay. Thanks, Jonathan and Usman. Yes, I'm going to show a demo of the Suite app that we built with Stribo. As soon as I can start sharing. Here we go.
Okay, yep, I can see your screen.
Okay, good. Okay, so hello, my name is Abraham Ferris, architect at American National. I work for Deanna Walton, and my coworker on this project was Young Moon. The American National family of companies offers a broad variety of life insurance, annuities, group health insurance products. The suite app that I'm going to show is developed for Standard Life, an accident insurance company, or SLACO, and SLACO is a subsidiary of American National. SLACO's current market interest is for a worksite group. The idea is an agent can sell insurance products on-site to the employer and their employees. Before Suite was created, an agent would have to walk in with paper and has to hand-fill every application, or we could accept a spreadsheet for larger groups, and our staff would manually have to enter the applications in our system. So Suite, SLACO stands for SLACO Worksite Electronic Enrollment Application Transaction, allows the agent to collect the application information electronically. The agent can submit these applications directly into our submission systems without any manual process. One thing about Suite is that the agent can also review and pre-fill information in an offline state if needed. And also there are enrollment rules built in to guide the agent through the process. Well, the main requirement of Suite was that it had to work in offline mode across many devices, mobile and desktop, and also developed with the same code base. So Stribo and Anico team came together and created the Suite app. And in order to meet the requirements of offline capabilities, this is some of the technology and platform stacks that we used here. We used Portal 8, Web Experience Factory 8. Since this is a client-side application, we used HTML5 with Dojo, App Cache, and we use IndexedDB and SQLite for persistence. Some of the technical highlights of the app is that it has offline capabilities utilizing App Cache, and it persists the data uses SQLite and IndexedDB on the client. And the SQLite and IndexedDB can be synchronized with the traditional databases on our servers. For the data encryption on the client side, we use the Stanford JavaScript crypto library, and this Suite app currently supports Safari and Chrome across mobile and desktop devices. We also use HTML5 Canvas to capture electronic signatures, and what we've done is use Excel to create the ratings, and that's developed by our actuaries. So I'm just going to give a quick overview of the app itself. Basically, the agent collects info in the product selection on site. He also will collect the full employer information. Next, he would capture the signature from the employer, and he would start enrolling employees. And then he'd get the signature from the employee. And then lastly, he would submit it to our submission process for the automation. So that's just a quick overview of how Suite works. And so what I'd like to do now is do a quick demo of the tech highlight of the offline capabilities. Okay, so I'm going to work out a scenario where, let's see here. So I'm going to work out a scenario where the agent is offline and he's in the field, perhaps at the employer's work site, and he's going to collect some information from the employer. But as you can see here in this virtual machine, that is representing an offline device, perhaps a iPad or a laptop of some sort, but it does not have any network connectivity, but the application still functions because of the App Cache technology built in. So he's going to go into the employer site, and he's going to start collecting information, and just pretend that he's filling in all these fields. But anyway, so I'm going to save this, and he collects the information, and now he's going to go back to the office and maybe generate a quote and do some background information to get the application filled. So what he would do next is connect it and sync to our central database. As you can see here, this is offline, and here's an online representation, and this could be his other computer in his office. And when I do a sync here, as you can see, that this test 1, 2, 3 doesn't exist in his online computer at his office. So he's brought his device into his office, and he's going to go ahead and connect it online. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the network adapters and connect this. And just give it 1 second for this to respond here. There we go. Okay, so now we're online with his laptop or device that he was out in the field with, and he's going to go ahead and sync up his changes so he can work on it in his office machine. As he logs in, it will automatically synchronize any new items that were added. So there's my test 1, 2, 3. And now he's going to jump over to, say, his office computer, and he's going to sync to pull down the changes. Okay. So as you can see, the test 1, 2, 3 came in, and he can start generating quotes and filling out various other information that he doesn't have to be at the employers to do so. So that's just a quick demo of the offline capabilities with the synchronization. One other thing I did want to show is the capabilities of the signature capture using the HTML5 in Canvas. So I'm going to bring this up here. And in the application, he can get the employer's signature. And as you can see, it's currently blank, and he'll capture the signature. And then he'll sign it too. And he can save it. And it applies this information to the form. And he can proceed with the application, ultimately submitting it to our submission system. So that's just a quick demo of the primary requirements that we needed for this suite application. And with that, I'll turn it back over to Usman. Thanks.
Thank you, Abraham. Very nice solution, and congratulations to the team at Anico and Stribo on a successful launch. So with this, we'll open up for questions.
Let me just open the lines here.
You may also choose to post your questions in the chat sessions, or you can shoot an email to any of the people available on this call. All right. So if there are no questions, we would like to close the session. Thank you all for joining, and have a wonderful day ahead.